Alright guys, so I am here with Sean Epperson of Thing 12 Games, and we're taking a look at Dice of Crowns and Dice of Pirates. I just got done playing a couple sessions with Sean himself, and then of course Chris and Rob, who are here with me, and we had a killer time. So why don't you tell us about what makes these games a little bit unique compared to other dice games on the market? And I guess I should say that we can start off with Dice of Crowns, which is out right now, and then Dice of Pirates is coming out in what, February?
Early next year, yeah.
Early next year. Okay, so why don't you just run us through what makes these games so special?
So a lot of times with dice games, what you're doing is you're just doing your actions, and everybody's kind of waiting for their turn to show up. The games that we make as Thing 12, we like games that have a lot of player interaction. So one of the core elements of this game is when you roll the dice, there's a die symbol, this scroll here. When you roll that, you have to hand it out to other players, and then they get to roll. So there's a lot of player interaction on your turn, because you're handing out dice to other people, they're rolling, they can do things to screw other players over, they can do things to help themselves out. So it's everybody engaged through all the turns. There's no like me sitting around waiting for my turn to show up.
What I was shocked by, first off, in Dice of Crowns was how awesome these components are. Like, you know, just the feeling of these things is ridiculous. You really went for like a premium quality thing for a basic dice game. Not only are these custom dice super rad, but also the tin itself, and then I can't decide what I love most among these awesome like laser engraved plastic pieces here, or the crown, which is just feels so good to hold and win, or this here, the rule book is bananas. What's going on with this rule sheet here?
So the 3D components of the game, these are plastic components. They're really good, high quality. We knew this is a game that's going to be in your pocket. You're going to take to like the bar. You're going to take out, camping, that kind of stuff. We wanted to make sure that everything in the game was going to withstand wherever you're taking it. So we took the rule sheet and made it out of Revlar. So it's non-tearable and non-water soluble. There's a YouTube video on the Thing 12 page where I took this and I left it in water for about an hour. I come back and I try and tear it. Nothing happens to it. This thing is bulletproof. It's indestructible.
As an Alaskan who does a lot of camping and has a kid and has 2 dogs, the ability for this to withstand all of those varying destructive elements is amazing, and I appreciate that in a portable game. So then let's take a look at what's going on. Is this just a reskin? What makes this Dice of Pirates different from Dice of Crowns, and why would people be excited about it?
So for Dice of Pirates, when we were working on Dice of Crowns, we knew that we wanted to create more games in the whole Dice of world. Dice of Pirates is not a reskin of Dice of Crowns. For us as a company, we think that's creatively lazy. We don't like doing that. We want to bring something new for people, so that there's a reason why they would want to have both these games. So in Dice of Pirates, there's some different elements with how the dice play out. So in Dice of Crowns, you're trying to go for these crowns here, and you're trying to avoid the daggers. In Dice of Pirates, you're trying to go for coins and trying to avoid the kraken. So there's some similarities. So we want to have something that's a little familiar for people that come into this game that have played the other one before. But in Dice of Crowns, the best you can do is you can manipulate what other people are doing on their turns, but you can't steal anything from them. In Dice of Pirates, there's a die icon, the sword element here, that you can use to attack another player and steal their items, steal their gold.
What I really like about this together is that clearly you have decided what makes a Dice of game. They feel like they belong in a family together, yet at the same time it is definitely distinct games. Playing both of them back to back, we felt strategically there were different options in each of the games, and that was really cool. The other thing is that the player interactivity for a dice game is through the roof. Like, I'm not going to tell you that this is playing actual Game of Thrones 2nd edition by Fantasy Flight Games, but for a dice game that moves extremely quick, a level of aggression and just fear that's struck into the hearts of someone when you pass them a boat and you roll a kraken and they know that you can just send that to anyone on the board. The thrill of power that you have as you inherit a dagger in this game, or when you actually get thrown a scroll and you roll a crown. There is so much interactivity on this that keeps people engaged even when it's not their turn, which is a rarity for a dice game. So I really am excited by this. I know that both Rob and Chris were over the moon wanting to check out more of both of these games. So if people want to check out this, these are definitely going to be produced, but there's another game on the horizon. What's up with that?
Well, we've got a couple actually. So we did Dice of Crowns on Kickstarter. It was really successful. We won a Lucy Award for Player's Choice, so that was pretty dope. And then after that, we did another game we put up on Kickstarter called Click Click Boom. Click Click Boom is a up to 6-player game where you're basically playing Russian roulette, but your cards are reversed. So you don't know what's in your hand, and there's one bad card in there. You turn to the player on your left, and they're going to give you a card to play, and the player on your right is going to give you a card to play, and both of those are face down. Go around the table and do that, and you're watching how people are interacting with each other, what they're telling, and you can say anything you want through that game. So, you get people saying, don't choose that person's card, they're trying to take you out, but are they lying? Are they screwing with your head?
Oh, I love that.
So there's a lot of player interaction again.
And then also there's one more game on the
There is one more, yes.
We got to get the Lovecraft thing going on.
Battle for Arkham. I'm really excited for this game. So Battle for Arkham is a 2-player game where one player is playing as a cultist, another player is playing as an investigator. So it's in the Cthulhu realm. There's a short number of cards. So you've got 6 cards in your hand.
Right.
Both players have the exact same cards as far as what they are, but the victory point value and the currency value of those cards are reversed of each other. So what you're doing is you're going to put a card face down and you're putting out a bid for that card, an amount that you're willing to pay for that card. Now the other player can come back and bid over the top of you in order to try and buy that card from you. They don't know what it is, so there's a lot of mental manipulation going on, trying to either bluff someone into giving you a lot of their money because you want to give them a card that may not be very good for you, and be able to get their money so you can come back later and steal one of their cards that might be better for you.
Totally.
Now that art, half of the art, say the Necronomicon is a card that's in that game. Now that card is in the cultist's hand. In order to use the ability that's on that card, he has to get the card from the other player.
Right.
So the cards can also be used as part of the bidding process, and once you marry those 2 cards together, then you can enact that effect of that card.
Very
so
cool.
There's a lot of real thinky, deep stuff kind of going on. When you have a card, you can actually do things like putting cards back into your hand, pulling them out, flipping other cards face down, setting a negative victory point cards. It's really thinky, but it plays in 20 minutes for how thinky it is.
That's awesome. I love the overall aesthetic of just making thoughtful, quick playing games that still have deep mechanics to them, or at least really cool moments that you feel good when they happen, especially having played these two. So if you want to check out more of these guys' stuff, and I should say that what you see here is prototype components when it comes to Dice of Pirates, and then again, Dice of Crowns is available right now. Where can people find your stuff?
Well, we're on Twitter as Thing12 Games. We're on Facebook as Thing12 Games, and Instagram as, you guessed it, Thing12 Games.
12 Games.
If you want to see any of the product stuff on Kickstarter, you can look up Dice of Crowns. You can look up Dice of Pirates on Kickstarter to actually see what the dice, what the components, what the actual tin is going to look like. So again, we're going with a full painted tin. We're going to have rules that are made out of Revlar. We're going to have a 3D component. We're going to have the pirate ship that comes in this game. The dice are actually black dice with these really cool symbols on them, laser etched, engraved. The tokens are all going to be plastic components, engraved as well. So the product quality on that one's going to be just like this. So again, a top shelf thing.
I can't wait to check it out. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Sean.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.